I suspect that at a very high level of governments, that we are already being visited by beings from the other side who are funding this kind of research for us to develop something that they need, to open up a portal. In the book of the Revelation of John, it does speak about a messenger from the upper levels coming down to earth and opening up a doorway to the bottomless pit down inside the earth to let things out. So maybe this is research being done to develop the technology we need here to do such a thing. I don't know. I mean, it's just a wild guess.
Right. And it's interesting, I think, that, it seemed like even in the Old Testament, whenever there are mentions of high places and things like that, it required, at least for the fallen entities, required some sort of sacrifice or some sort of ritual for these fallen entities to come through. It seems like God's angels are freely able to, traverse as they will, but the fallen entities require some sort of legalistic key, if you will, for us to allow them in, so to speak. So perhaps this is just a large human project to create the biggest doorways to the fallen entities to come through. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to see some rather astounding events in the next 12 to 24 months. Because other factors in biblical prophecy seem to be coming to play later this year. And that would then require the presence of this fake alien landing, invasion, whatever. But to do that, there are going to have to be a lot of them appear. And I'm wondering if God himself isn't going to open up one of these portals to cast Satan and his minions out of his universe down into ours for the final battle. At that time, of course, these beings will appear all over the place, and I think technology for them to fly around, saucers and that kind of stuff, have been developed already since 1952 or so, when we started sharing bases, underground bases, with these fallen ones, quote-unquote grays and aliens. But I think this has been prepared for the time when the gateway opens and these beings are pushed out of their level to ours, so that they have infrastructure to build and use weapons against Jesus when he returns. Anyway, that's just kind of my thought on it.
Right. It's so interesting. And I know, when we had you on an early episode of Canary Cry Radio, you told your stories of experiences of things you've seen and things you've encountered, and that stuff's fascinating, and I'll point people to those interviews in the links. But, I mean, how do you think the whole, I guess, the alien invasion or the staged invasion, how could that play out? I mean, it seems to me that the Obama or whoever, Hillary or whoever this president's going to be, announcing alien presence is not going to be enough to really convince the whole world. It seems like there has to be more of a manifestation, in my opinion. But what are your thoughts on how that might look?
Yeah, I'm sure that this will happen. I think the release of their presence will be such that the people of the earth will say, they're here, and the governments were lying. In essence, it won't be trusting a government release of the thing. It will be so obvious. They'll be in the skies, like in the movie V, or in 4th of July, the beings and their craft, big ones, will be over major cities or locations that will be on TV worldwide, and people will go, oh, they're here, are they friendly? Now, I think that this will have to come at the height of a global threat so real that people will say to anyone, help us avoid this or we're going to be extinct, the human race.
Listen, it's not just one experiment they're about to perform. This thing is going to run 6 months continuously, colliding protons near the speed of light to analyze particles, exotic particles that are made at the beginning of the Big Bang. That's why they call it the Big Bang machine. It's the only way to observe these particles, which wink in and out of existence in, a fraction of time. They found the force that holds the dark energy or the dark matter away from this realm. They call it the wall. There's another name for that. A name of which that those particles they're going to find, they found part of it. They're going to find the other pieces that are in that wall. And when they find the other pieces to this wall, they will then be able to undo that wall. There's another name for that wall, the veil. They call it the veil. It holds back that realm. They found out what's holding back the dark energy from, because it would be absolutely destructive if the two met. But they found out, now with this as a weapon, there is no counter weapon to this.
Think about this. They know that they could be opening or parting the veil. God has sealed this small percentage of the universe as we see it and know it to protect us from what's out there. Again, you're looking at a Passover that will surpass anything ever known to man, even the first Passover in Egypt. And they were saved then because of the blood of the Lamb.
This is the biggest machine in the world.
There's a reason God put them on the other side of that veil, and you might not want to open the door.
No.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
Their own director of CERN has gave interviews to the British press in which he admits that's what they're trying to do. They want to open a door to another dimension. And he said, when we open this door, he said, something might come through it into our reality, or he said, we might send something through it into their reality. You can look that up. It's in the British press. Where the CERN was built, this is St. Genus Powili. That's the name of the township. But in ancient days, guess what it was called? It was called Apolliacum. It was literally a temple to the god Apollo, because they believed that's the gateway to the underworld. Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction that destroys at the molecular level, is right out in front of the offices of CERN, and it's dedicated to Shiva. It's named after Apolliacum, the gateway to the god Apollo. But what does the book of Revelation say? Yeah, absolutely, that an angel comes down with a key to the bottomless pit and opens that gateway. And guess who is the god down in there? The king over the bottomless pit, Apollyon, Abaddon, the king of the bottomless pit. And we're trying right there to open a gateway.
You're smart, lady. They're trying to open the door to the gate to hell.
Right.
God literally sealed and locked demons into the earth that would not be released until the last days. And now we have evidence that man is the one that's trying to open the door and release them.
Listen, it's not just one experiment they're about to perform. This thing is going to run 6 months continuously.
I think we're going to see some rather astounding events in the next 12 to 24 months. Because other factors in biblical prophecy seem to be coming to play later this year. And that would then require the presence of this fake alien landing, invasion, whatever.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat.
God has promised us a man of kindness, a man who loves people and loves absolute justice, a man who is a perfect human being and is named Imam al-Mahdi, a man who will come in the company of Jesus Christ and the righteous. By using the inherent potential of all the worldly men and women of all nations, and he will cut through ignorance, superstition, prejudice, by opening the gates of science and knowledge. By opening the gates of science and knowledge. He will come so that hands will be joined, hearts will be filled with love, and thoughts will be purified to be at the service of security, welfare, happiness, well-being, and peace for all.
So, of course, this all has to do with CERN, and even on CERN's logo, as many have exposed as well, you've got the 666 spinning. We see CERN being used by even heavy metal bands like Megadeth. You've got Super Collider there, and this is CERN being shown on the album cover. And as I said, it's to do with the transfiguration of the planet. It's the false Jesus Sananda leeching off the back of Christ. Because, you know, as you know, some of you may know, Christ, the transfiguration was to do with Christ, and he temporarily formed a bridge to the Father in the Bible. And this is obviously the inversion of that. It's the transfiguration of their kingdom. It's the birthing of hell on earth. It's the bridge from hell to earth, from the abyss to earth, to break loose the ones that are imprisoned, the spirits, the fallen, as the Bible all describes. And
there's another name for that wall, the veil.
They know that they could be opening or parting the veil.
It was on the Day of Atonement that Moses came down from Mount Sinai for the second time, and he put a veil over his face.
Moses was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them. So Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterward, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would put the veil back over his face until he went in to speak with the Lord.
And are not like Moses, who used to put a veil over his face so that the sons of Israel would not look intently at the end of what was fading away. But their minds were hardened, for until this very day at the reading of the Old Covenant, the same veil remains unlifted, because it is removed in Christ. But to this day, whenever Moses is read, a veil lies over their heart. But whenever a person turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty.
The veil was first put on right on the Day of Atonement. I believe this will also be the day that the veil is removed. The word veil means to cover or conceal. The word unveil means to reveal. In a wedding, the veil of the bride is removed. We are the bride of Christ, and our veil will be completely removed on the day when we see him face to face. 1 Corinthians 13:12 says,
For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known.
The Day of Atonement is known as the face-to-face day because only on this day was the high priest allowed to go into the Holy Holies and live to tell about it. On no other day of the year was anyone allowed to ever enter the Holy of Holies. The high priest would remove the veil and enter into the Holy of Holies. When Christ died as our atonement, the veil was ripped in two, and we can now boldly enter the throne of grace to find mercy in our time of need. The Day of Atonement is the day of the unveiling, or the day of revealing. Colossians 3:4 says,
When Christ, who is our life, is revealed, then you also will be revealed with him in glory.
Isaiah 26:21 says,
And the earth will give birth to the departed spirits. Come, my people, enter into your rooms and close your doors behind you. Hide for a little while until indignation runs its course. For behold, the Lord is about to come out from his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. And the earth will reveal her bloodshed, and will no longer cover her slain.
Where'd you find this? I've never seen anything like this.
One man will break the code and open the door, and open the door, break the code, and open the door.
9:23. Clearly he's leaving us a code, some way to reach him. A time or a date, maybe? September 23rd? September 23rd.
What is that?
It's your Stargate.
We've opened a doorway to a world we know nothing about.
This is not like other ordinary particles. It really is we're reaching into the fabric of the universe at a level we've never done before. This is telling us something. It's a key to the structure of the universe. It's a key to the structure of the universe. And this could open up, and this could open up, and this could open up, maybe we see nothing extraordinary, and we understand that maybe this is the only part of the story that's left, or maybe we open up a whole new realm of discovery.
My mother's amulet is the key that unlocks the door to the demon world.
And I hope that they open a door toward a very bright future. Thank you.
The planet also means very concretely, our very survival. We are, all of you know it, on the edge of a climatic abyss. In fact, we have 500 days to avoid a climate chaos.
There will be climate chaos coming up within 500 days, which takes us to September 24th, 2015. What's he talking about?
And proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord from now until September 23rd, 2015, Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. Starting September 24th, 2015, I will be announcing the coming of the glorious kingdom and His Majesty.